Okay, welcome back to another episode of Pep Talk.
The Peak Endurance Podcast, episode number 17. I'm Nico.
And I'm Mercedes. And today we're going to ramble on about a few topics, kind of like talk about some race recaps, what we've been up to lately. We'll dive into what we kind of think are training fundamentals versus sort of fad training ideals or like kind of buzzwords, if you will. And then maybe talk about some upcoming things in terms of racing and stuff like that. So, yeah, let's dig in.
All right.
Okay, so, well, first off, how are you? What's new?
Fresh off a nice long run this morning. Yeah, you wanted to delay to start at 9 a.m. because the rain bars showed that it wouldn't be as heavy. So we waited to go run a little bit later, and it was still raining a lot.
Well, okay, so I checked the weather this morning and it was clearly showing torrential downpour all morning, and then the afternoon had a little sun emoji. So naturally, I wanted to procrastinate as long as possible to reach the sun. And unfortunately, I think that there was a pretty big difference in what the weather app was showing me for where our current location is and like where we're going running, which isn't very far. It's only like a 15-minute drive away, but it was like supposed to be improving in Sydney at 9 a.m. And then where we were driving to out at Mount Work area, when we got there, it turned out there was actually going to be like 5 millimeters of rain at 10 a.m., which is like right in the middle of when we were starting. So I tried to procrastinate it and it was a big fail.
It didn't work. But no, it was good. It was good practice. I brought two rain jackets with me to start because I wasn't sure if it was like what the level of rain was going to be. So I used the more heavy duty rain jacket. I had my rain pants in my pack just in case, like just learning from UTMB,
That you put them in there because of that?
just in case. Yeah, I put
Oh.
I actually had like rain pants. I had a spare shirt. I had an emergency blanket.
You did not have a cell phone.
No, I ditched the cell phone. But yeah, so I was like, what if I come across someone, or what if I roll an ankle and then I get really cold and stop like moving quickly? So I was like, okay, then have all the stuff. But I did not bring a cell phone, so that was kind of silly.
Wow. Okay. You were really like, you really took your learnings from UTMB and you're putting them into practice, eh?
Exactly. Well, I was just like, it's better to be over prepared, have the space in my pack, so I might as well have it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I would say I was like pretty not enthusiastic about getting the run started.
Yeah.
It was like really coming down when we started. And I was kind of the opposite. I brought like a very light rain jacket because I was just like manifesting that it was going to calm down. And I don't know, I just felt like I feel like I've been so wimpy since coming
Soft.
back from
Yeah.
UTMB.
Yeah.
So soft. I've been really, I would say, lucky, but also strategically timing my outings to avoid any sort of bad weather. And we've just been having lots of sunny days, so it's been kind of easy to only go outside when it's nice.
Yeah.
But this morning, I don't know, we kind of wanted to get to the rest of our day. So, anyways, but it was one of those times where it's like it just got better,
Yeah.
and always glad when it's by the end
It's
that I did it.
it's better like that it gets nicer as you go
The
than the
opposite.
opposite, I think.
Yeah.
But it was like full on streams coming down the trail, and it just kind of it did remind me of, UTMB, but at least it was like warm rain is
Yes.
what I was like. UTMB was really cold rain, so
Yeah, it wasn't too cold, and I actually, yeah, got
yeah.
quite warm by the end. But yeah, I went up and over Mount Work, and so if you're familiar, it's has like a lot of rock slab and the mossy rocks
Yeah.
combined with the streams coming down them. It was very slippery. I was moving very slowly, so it felt like a good chunk of it just felt like a nice
So,
hike.
okay, I have been wearing my like on whatever Cloud
Mm.
Pro Ultra shoes more lately, and been finding they perform very well in on wet rock, mud, like I find their grip is really good.
Really?
Yeah, I think I think you were in the Zagamas. I think
I
I just
was.
don't think the lugs are very good for wet grip or
Okay.
especially mud.
I felt that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were one of the reasons, like I did the Qualicum race last weekend, last Saturday, right?
Hmm.
And that was one of the reasons why I went with those shoes for that race was because it was like there was a lot of rain
You went with
and
the ons.
I went with Ons.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Because I looked at all my shoes and I was like, which ones have the best grip? And like it just looked like it had good traction, but I hadn't ever tested them on wet rock and stuff like that. But they got a thorough test today and they passed with flying colors. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was this morning.
Mm.
And I was thinking about like what are the keys for me to making a wet, miserable weather run more enjoyable? A big one is quality, tasty snacks. So like especially if I'm not training for a race, I was thinking about like I kind of do everything to avoid having to take gels.
Yeah.
Like if I can get my calories in other ways, I will like reserve gels just for when I'm in a training block that I'll like need to use them in a race. So today the highlights for me included there's like mini Hornby bars now.
Oh
They're
yeah,
called like
right.
Hornby O Snack. And if you've had a Hornby bar before, you know that they're like really dense and tasty, but like way too big for a trail snack usually. But these mini versions are just perfect.
Mm.
Peanut butter chocolate flavor. It was so good. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
And then I also had you last time when you were in the US brought me home the Trader Joe's sour,
Yeah.
keyword,
Sour.
Scandinavian
Yeah.
swimmers. And those are the most elite sour candy, in my opinion. I was just so
Eh,
happy when I was eating them.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, same thing. I mean, I maybe didn't have as much joy in what I was eating, but I did not take a single gel.
Sad for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The snack quality was maybe not as high as yours was,
Yep.
but did feel really well. So
And the other key component for me is good tunes. So I had big booty mix on rotation for a bit and or a good podcast. Just something like good to listen to kind of like distract you from the fact that it's pouring rain out. So yeah, that was a
yeah,
recipe for success
I
for me.
could not have been more different. I had no music.
No music,
Yeah,
no Scandinavian
swimmers.
swimmers.
Yeah, yeah. But I had a blast. So.
And as per usual, we went on a run together, not at all together.
No, no,
So
completely different ways. I did a loop. You did an out and back.
yes, Queen of Out and
You
Backs.
don't want to get lost. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So that was our
that's the
morning.
morning.
And literally as we were getting back to the parking lot,
Sun,
the
blue sky.
blue sky came
Yeah,
out just like a stunning, beautiful day. But I will say, even like halfway through the run, it stopped raining, and the fall colors are still popping off really
beautiful.
nicely.
Absolutely beautiful.
So that was a joy. So I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would, and I now I feel like okay, I can get some of my toughness back when it comes to running
Just in
and
time for winter. Yeah,
exactly getting outside in bad weather. I can do it. I'm still tough.
yeah.
Okay. So you kind of mentioned a little race you did in Qualicum. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so a week ago, went up with a couple other guys from Victoria, and we kind of jumped into the Qualcomm race. I did the long course. There's also Greg, Curran, Derek, and Ed that came up, and yeah, it's just like a fun local
Heard of
race,
the
Island Trail Series. It was definitely a last minute, I was like, I kind of made the decision that week. I wanted, like, after Kodiak and Greg and Curran and I went up last year and we kind of just made a boys trip out of it. And then you were gone. I was like, oh, might as well do another boys trip up to Qualicum. And it's good, like, just see so many people from the trail community there. So it's just a really fun local event. And thanks to everyone who came up to me and said that they liked the podcast. That was really nice to hear. But yeah, just good to like kind of connect with everyone from the island trail community.
Did you say already what the distance,
Okay, so I
what the
did.
course was
There's
like?
two distances. There's short course and long course. So last year I did the short course, which was 11 kilometers, and this year I did the short course, which was advertised as 26, but was 23 kilometers.
Oh,
Yeah, and I kind of knew it was going to be 23. It says 26 on the website, but then when you click on the Strava like route, it's 23K. So
oh,
I'm like, this isn't going to be.
okay.
So I was expecting it to be 23, but or 20, yeah, 23. But and yeah, it was yeah, my plan, I was kind of trying to, I was like, how do I tackle this race? Like, like, I don't know, just coming off Kodiak. And I was like, I don't know, I feel like my strength lies in being able to run like my endurance.
Mm.
Because I was like, do I just kind of sit and like try to stay in a group and then just kick at the end? But I was like, no, I just need to like run it as hot as possible and try to like jettison as many people as I can, make the pace really hot for them and hard to hang on. Because I felt like
Jettison?
jettison, yeah,
Is
like
that a word?
I think so. Yeah. You like, you know, like you jettison, you like chuck it out. You
I've never
jettison.
heard that before.
Okay, people. We'll look this up later.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Jettison.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Oh, with the J.
Like ETT?
Yeah, Ettison. Like you're gonna jettison something out. Maybe it's like yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
I've never heard that. Never used that word before.
Okay.
But
You're hearing your first time here.
yeah. Carry on.
So I was trying to jettison people from the pack, keep the pressure high. Anyway, so that was my plan. So I went and I was like, I figured I knew roughly what heart rate range I could run in for that distance. I thought it would take me, I thought around something like 430. There wasn't too much elevation, maybe 300, just over 300, but the trails aren't super fast. They're very like windy, rooty, like up and down. So it's like it's not like a flat kind of smooth trail. So it's, I wouldn't call them fast trails, especially for the vert, but they're super fun to kind of flow around in. And yeah, so took off, and then there's a guy behind me, and he kind of just was sticking like right behind me the entire time, like probably not too much separation. And then we chatted for a little bit. Nice guy, Hugo, from Up Island, like Courtney Comox area. And then at one point, I think around like 5K, I noticed like a little bit of separation, like kind of between us. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I was like, did he just like get caught up? Anyway, so then I like kind of pressed on my accelerator a little bit, and then there's like a gap that formed. Because I was like, okay, well, maybe he's, I don't know, maybe he's struggling, or maybe he's like, oh, I can't keep up this pace anymore. And so I was like, okay, I just need to create some distance.
Jettison,
Jettison.
if you
Yeah,
will.
jettison. Yeah, yeah. And like, because the trails are so windy and weavy, you're in a dense forest, like you get a little bit of separation, and then he's lost sight of him, and I've also like we've lost sight of each other. So that happened about the first aid station, 6K in. And then I kind of settled back into the effort I had. And then eventually I kind of like settled in almost maybe a little bit easier than that, and kind of was just like, okay, like I look back a couple times, it's like I can't see him, like I feel pretty comfortable, I can't hear anyone. Then get to the second aid station, fill up my bottle, then get going, and then I'm like listening to see here if I can hear that someone in the aid station like behind me. And
Yeah.
then like I don't know, I should have looked at my watch, but I was like maybe 20 seconds later after I left the aid station, I could hear cheering. I was like, oh crap, there's like someone really close. And I'm like halfway through the race. I was like, I can't get complacent now. So then I was like, okay, I got to start trying again. Like, if not, like there'll be someone right catch up to me. So that was the rest of the race. And I just kind of ran like decently hard the rest of the race, and would look back if there was ever like a straighter stretch and I never saw anyone. Um, and then the unfortunate thing of like how the course was organized, like I was starting to catch up to all the short course people who started later, so in the 11K. And so I started going through like the back of that field, and it was like everyone going a little bit slower, and I was like zooming by on this like single track. And so I always had to be like, hey, on your left, or like, and then like one, one, yeah, one time I had to like kind of push someone, not push, gently move someone over because they had like headphones in, and I kept yelling, and then I kind of just took my like arm and like pushed him over, like not pushed him over,
Yeah.
nudged him over. And he was obviously freaked out, and
But this is we've talked about this
yeah,
before, but if you are running
yeah,
with headphones in and you can't hear somebody yelling behind
yeah,
you, your headphones are too loud.
totally,
You should be able to hear what's going on around you. Like it's
yeah,
actually a dangerous thing to
yeah,
be doing when you're by yourself, when you're in a race, no matter
totally.
what it is. So that's bad.
And I noticed such a difference between the people who have like the shocks, like the
Mhm.
bone conduction, or like the open headphones, versus the ones that actually go in your ear.
Yeah.
Like they can hear you coming so much easier, or like when you actually say something. So appreciate that a lot. But anyway, so yeah, so then I was passing a lot of people at the end, and actually talked to the Mike, the race organizer, and he was like, "Oh, how was it?" So he's going to try to reconfigure it so that doesn't happen next year. Just play with the timing a little bit of when the races start. But yeah, then anyways, I finished the race and was fortunate enough to win. And like 30 seconds later, there was a second place guy, Hugo, right there. I was like, holy crap, he was like literally right there, like the entire time. So,
Hmm.
and yeah, so and then yeah, when I talked to him later, he's like, yeah, you're the pace you were putting on was like really hard. I wouldn't have been able to sustain it for the entire way. So I was like, oh, my plan worked. So yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But he's a really nice young guy from Comox Courtney. I think he's like under 23. He's got a
Wow.
bright future for sure.
Cool. Okay, we love to see
Yeah.
a local crusher putting Nico to the
Totally.
test.
And then the third and fourth were within a minute behind me too. So like they were all together, and then he out sprinted them.
Oh,
So there
wow.
was like three of them sprinting for second place. So it was an exciting finish. So it's a lot closer than I thought it was for the entire race, because like I was only with Hugo for about 5K, and then I was by myself for the rest of the race. But turns out there's people hot on my heels. But it was a lot of fun.
That's fun. And well, the thing is about like, when you're leading, you don't really get any updates of where people are. But I'm sure that every time they went through and saw people, they probably got some sort of feedback like, oh, leader's only 30 seconds ahead or whatever.
Totally. Yeah.
So I wonder if they were kind of more
They
aware that
knew.
you were a lot closer than you were aware of them.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the only indication was me listening for that aid station. That was the only update I got. And then from there, I just didn't know at all the rest of the way. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So that's fun. Fun trip up island. And then, yeah, came back home that same night.
Nice. Yeah, the Island Trail series, I think are such great races for people to sort of dip their toe into trail running because there's always a shorter distance and a longer distance. And they're just really inclusive and, well, local for us. So, yeah, would highly recommend. That's Mike and his Coastline Endurance
Yeah.
team that puts it all on. So, yeah, I've only been able to do a couple of them. They're honestly too short and fast for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like, I don't know. Well, I did the short course the year before, and that felt really, really fast. And then this one, like, yeah, it still felt like really, well, it felt fast and hard, but like, it's like a less than 2 hour effort. And I don't know, it just came off of like a 10-hour effort. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot different. Yeah.
But great community event for people to check out if they're interested in
Totally.
trail
Yeah.
racing.
Especially if you want to dip your toes and you're like, you're from the road or and trail curious, like perfect event to try out.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Okay. And
Yeah.
while you were in Qualicum,
Yeah.
I was in Toronto
Yeah.
for the weekend.
Yeah. You had a exciting time there.
Yes. So kind of funny because I had planned this girls' trip with my girlfriends. One of our best friends moved there well, actually 3 years ago, we realized time flies.
Wow.
But her and her partner bought a house, and so we wanted to go visit them. And then it just so happened that then the Blue Jays made it to the World Series.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it was a very exciting time to be in Toronto, much as this weekend right now would be. But yeah, obviously, I mean, we went to a Raptors game, which was pretty fun, but we did not obviously know that we did not have
No,
tickets to the
yours
Blue
was it
Jays.
wasn't a planned
No.
trip for the Blue Jays. Yeah.
But regardless, it was just like the whole city was a vibe.
Mm.
There was just people wearing Blue Jays gear everywhere around. So it was a lot of fun. It was just fun to be like amongst it all and this sort of sense of like camaraderie, even though I'm a total bandwagon fan.
Yeah, well, and I feel like you were rooting for the Blue Jays to lose against Seattle because you wanted it like us watching baseball to be over, because I would put on the game and you'd be like, I don't want to watch this.
Because
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
sorry to
Yeah.
baseball fans out there, but it has to be one of the most boring sports to watch on TV.
Versus golf.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would
Okay.
say like they're pretty on par.
Yeah.
On
Fair.
par.
I mean, I think I would watch baseball over golf. Well, pretty good. I could watch either.
I would say, but either of them, if
Yeah.
there was something exciting going
On the line,
like
yeah.
the World Majors or whatever,
Yeah.
then I'm invested. But leading up to that,
You mean like the World Series?
World Series,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
whatever it's
yeah.
called in
Big baseball
golf,
fan.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But anyways, now I'm pretty invested.
Yeah. Yeah. You jumped on the bandwagon.
100% jumped on the bandwagon. And I mean, I wonder if there was other people yesterday, like if anybody watched Game 6 and they almost won at the end there.
Yeah.
And then that one ball was like a bad ball,
Oh, right, the dead ball.
dead ball.
Yeah, yeah,
So I was like Googling what is a dead ball. And I'm
yeah.
like, I wonder how many other like Canadian
It's
bandwagon fans are like searching
it's like
this
the
right
top
now.
Google search in Canada. Yeah,
Seriously,
yeah,
I
yeah,
wonder.
yeah.
But anyways, lots
Yeah,
of fun.
it's been fun. Yeah, I've learned a lot about baseball this last like 2 weeks. So
Same.
yeah, but it's cool because like Canada only has one team, so I feel like the whole country kind of gets behind it instead of like, like hockey, we have multiple teams. So if
Mhm.
like one team goes deep into Stanley Cup, kind of like the other cities don't really care as much.
Yeah,
But for baseball, we have one, so it's kind of
yeah.
cool.
So yeah, game
Well,
7 tonight.
tonight, so exciting.
We
Yeah,
shall see. Go Jays, go.
yeah,
Okay, next thing we were going to touch on was the Javelina race
yeah.
happened. So I think we kind of on a previous pod we talked about we mentioned that that was coming up.
Golden tickets on the line.
Yeah, so as a refresher, this race takes place in Arizona. It's a looped course. It has 100K and 100-mile distance. And if you do the 100K, you do 3 of the loops. If you do the 100-mile, you do 5 of the loops. And it's just kind of a cool course because each time you finish the loop, you get to be amongst where all of the crew hangs out. So your crew doesn't have to travel or move around anywhere. It's obviously around Halloween, so people get dressed up and it just looks like a lot of fun.
Apparently, have fire dancers and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah,
And I will say, like, I've wanted to do Javelina ever since I learned about it, but
yeah.
I think each year that passes that I like get more invested in it and watch more of it, I want to do it more.
I've heard it is described as Burning Man meets trail running because it's just like this big party in the
Okay.
desert and people
Okay.
running around in costumes and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it definitely looks like a good time. And this year was
historic.
pretty historic. So to recap a little bit, maybe we can start out by talking about the GOAT in trail running right now, which is Tara Dower. She won the women's race by an hour. The next female was an
Yeah,
hour
this
behind her.
dominating win.
It's a
Yeah,
dominating win.
yeah,
And she was 7th overall.
yeah,
So
and,
she only 6 guys beat her.
yeah. And she broke the course record.
She broke the course record by I think just around 30 minutes,
Yeah,
which is huge. The course record was very stout.
yeah.
And if you want to know, so her time was 13 hours and 31 minutes, which equates to about a 5 minute, just over a 5 minute per kilometer pace.
Yeah.
So just imagine
For
that.
100 miles, 2,000 meters of vert, so it's not like pancake flat. There's still like a little bit of climbing in there.
Even if it was pancake flat,
Still,
so
yeah,
many like
yeah, yeah,
imagine that's a decent clip for most people.
yeah,
And to keep that up for 160 kilometers
yeah.
blows my mind.
Also, they like this year was like they're saying it wasn't like a hot year per se, but it was still like quite hot.
Yeah.
I think it's still like high 20s, like 26 or something, 27. So it's still like by Canadian standards hot.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you'll see temperatures in like the mid 30s for this race. So compared to that was cooler. But still like being able to run that fast with like that heat and there's no shade or anything.
Mm.
Like you're in the desert, there's just cactuses. Like everything is exposed.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then next female, which like we said was an hour behind Tara, was Beth McKenzie. And I also wanted to mention her a bit because I just think she's a boss lady.
You raced her.
Yeah.
In Ting. She was in Ting.
She was in Ting at
Yeah.
the same time as us. She was training for CCC at UTMB. And I already followed her on social media before we got to Ting. And then I could tell from social media that we were like literally probably staying like, I don't know.
2K away.
Yeah, like in the very same town. So, and I originally started following her. She's just an interesting, like impressive woman. She's comes from a professional triathlon background and she is American, but I think she married a Australian. So she lives in Australia. And she's a mom. She has 2 kids. She's 45 years old. And, I think a lot of people probably would have thought like, oh, she peaked with her triathlon career. And now she's having this huge like breakout into the trail running scene.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so amazing to watch. She's also like a CEO of her and her husband's company, which they make like athletic apparel.
Yeah.
And I just think like that's just like the definition of boss lady to me. Like she does it all. She's a mom, she is a boss, like
Yeah.
she is, and she's just like peaking in her athletic career at
40.
45. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so cool. So she finished second behind Tara Dower, which is so awesome. And at this race, like Nico said, it's a golden ticket race. So the top two people get direct entries into Western states. And unfortunately, so Beth uh, was cannot participate in Western states due to a doping ban that she received several years ago. I'm not sure exactly how many years ago. And I wanted to dig more into this, and maybe we can,
In her like triathlon days.
yeah, in her
From yeah,
triathlon
yeah.
days. But I'm pretty sure I don't quote me on this because I didn't really research this before talking about it today, but I read a little bit about that. I think that it was basically like a salt pill or some sort of substance that she was taking that they deemed to be like contaminated. And she's maybe like since sued the company and like won against them. So, anyways, all that to say that like yes, she was banned for doping, but it sounds like there was like not, I don't know, some,
It wasn't like she was taking like some hormone to boost
no,
her performance. It was just
no,
sounds like some contamination that she was just
exactly.
like, oh, I did take this pill, and it was, and then it ended up being contaminated,
Yeah,
salt pill, right? And
yeah.
then it's like, well, okay, yeah. So
Anyways, really unfortunate. And
yeah,
I know that it's always like, well, can you believe people when they say that? But at the same time, like, I don't know. I just think like, I don't know. I think she seems like a trustworthy woman. I don't know. I like her a lot. And anyways, I was just so
yeah,
impressed by her. So unfortunately, she can't take the golden ticket, which she knew like going into this
yeah.
race. And I also think it's just very like powerful to see the way she talks about it because
She doesn't hide it or anything.
no,
Yeah,
and she's like, she could just go and be like completely embarrassed by this and like just give up on her athletic career, but instead she's like still putting herself out there and still like talking about it and going into these big races where she knows that this stuff is going to be like a light is going to be shone on it, like maybe
yeah.
not in the best way. And I just think like kudos to her.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I feel like a lot of people don't know that, just what her doping infraction was
right.
per se. So people just see like, oh, she had a doping infraction, but like
Right.
don't know that it was like, in my eyes, kind of like a minor doping infraction, like where it was like, oh, it was kind of like a mistake, maybe not on her part, but like it happened. Um, but yeah, so it's like a lot of people might just categorize her, just see that and kind of categorize her as a doper, where it's like kind of maybe more than just, black and white, kind of
Yeah.
like a little bit gray.
Agreed.
But yeah, Western States policy is like if you serve more than a 3-month ban, then you're not eligible to run in the race. So,
Ever.
ever. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Hard and fast.
which the ticket then rolled down to Addie Bracy, who she's been given what was it called? She's like a warning, a doping
Yes.
warning.
She'd been giving a doping warning
Yeah,
because she took
IV.
she had an
Yeah,
IV some time before a race and she again did not her intent was not cheating.
yeah.
It was just like
She was sick. She
she
was
was
really
sick
yeah,
or something. Anyway, so she got like a warning for this because I guess that's a big no-no, even though like I mean, if she went to the hospital or something, that probably wouldn't have been a big deal, but
yeah.
I don't know.
But it was like anyways, we don't know the full stories, but
No,
yeah,
but I also thought that it was very cool that it rolled down to Addie, and I just listened to her on a podcast, and she's been in the sport for a really long time. She is sponsored by Nike, and she just hasn't really had some great performances over the past few years. And I heard her talking about this on a recent podcast, and I just like really loved her outlook about this race. Like it was almost like she kind of stopped putting so much pressure on herself and stopped tying all of her self-worth to
results or
results and
yeah,
performance and running. And then of course like now she has this amazing race.
yeah,
So it seemed like she just kind of had to battle through a few years of like I mean, I think she had some injuries as well, but she said it was more so just like mental struggles going on. And it just kind of came out of that. And her sort of whatever word of the wise was like, just don't give up. Like, keep putting in the time, keep putting
yeah,
in the effort. She is also I want to say 39.
Okay. Yeah.
So she's
Yeah.
not so anyways, I'm just like so inspired by these women
Yeah.
and yeah, great day. Women were crushing it left, right,
Yeah.
and center out
Yeah. It's
there.
really cool.
So talk about the men.
Yeah, on the men's side, course record also went down. A guy named Will Murray, who kind of just got thrusted into the limelight earlier this year at Black Canyon. He got second place, where he got a golden ticket to Western States, and unfortunately, wasn't able to line up for Western States. He had some. Oh, I think he broke his ankle just before Western States, and then he had some heart issues. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to toe the line. But he kind of came out of nowhere at Black Canyon. And then anyway, so this was his kind of his first race back, first bigger race back, and then he had a 30-minute course record, which is an average of 4:30 per kilometer pace, and
Crazy.
wild 4:30s,
4:30s
yeah,
for 100 miles, like mind blown.
totally, yeah, and he beat David Roach, who won last year, course record at Leadville, and David Roach also went under the course record. I think he was about 8 minutes behind Will, um, but yeah, they all ran really fast, and yeah. And then in third place was Canyon Woodward, who's only a minute behind David Roach. So it was like a very close top three, and they were all under the course record, which was, yeah, I think it's pretty impressive that so many people ran that fast.
Yes. And also notably, Kenyon Woodward competed at UTMB this year.
Yeah, that's a really crazy turnaround. Like going from like UTMB, 10,000 meters of elevation for over 100 miles, and then going to Javelina and having to run fast and flat for 100 miles again. Like that's like completely different. Like
And he
shows
did well at UTMB.
he was 13th.
13th.
Yeah,
And he's just been on this like
upward trajectory.
upward
Yeah,
trajectory,
yeah,
just kind of chipping away,
yeah,
just getting better and better. I think it's kind of cool. And I feel like I've paid more attention to his name because you came second to him
yeah,
at Canyons.
yeah,
And yeah, it's just, I just like love to see, like, it's one thing to see these sort of overnight successes. And I
totally.
mean, I know it's never really an overnight success, but some people that sort of just pop off and have these amazing breakout races. And then there's the people who've just been like slowly chipping away. And I just find that more relatable.
Totally. Yeah. I
Um,
think like Canyon, like 3 years ago, he was like maybe 30th at UTMB. And then last year, I think he was like low 20s. And this year was 13th. So he's just been like steadily improving in
yeah.
his position and time.
And yeah, to turn around and do this race,
Like I would say this is a big breakthrough for him.
huge,
Yeah. Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, and yeah, so because there's two golden tickets, so it went to Will Murray and David Roach, but David Roach I guess didn't want his ticket, or he passed it on. So then the ticket rolled down to Canyon, which interesting enough, David Roach coaches Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool because then literally at the award ceremony, David gave the ticket to Canyon, which I feel like that's such a cool moment. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, but it's funny, like David is gonna try still to get to Western
yeah,
States.
yeah,
So he basically gave up this guaranteed opportunity to now go to try to race to get back in. So
yeah,
it's an interesting dynamic for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So see, we heard that he might be doing Canyon's 100K to get back in. So yeah, so
Very cool.
it'll be interesting. But yeah, super. Like I don't know, people are just running so fast. It's crazy. Like every race, like for trail running, feels like course records are falling. Like people are running faster. Yeah,
Where does it end?
yeah, yeah. Where's the limit?
It's just so
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Very impressive. Again, yeah, I would love to go to that race. Maybe
yeah,
next year.
yeah. Yeah, maybe not for me. Yeah,
Well, I think it'd be better if only one of us did it
yeah,
at a
definitely. You
time
could do it.
to
Yeah. Oh,
prove.
I would love to go to that race. It's a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I know Greg would be down.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's switch gears a little
Okay.
bit. Do you want to tell us about some lactate testing you did this week?
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. That was yesterday.
Oh, Friday.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just today ago. So, I went to do some lactate testing and metabolic cart testing. So, I'll see if I can summarize this well. But so lactate testing is measuring the concentration of lactate in your blood, and then the Met cart is measuring the amount of oxygen you're taking in and CO2 you're expelling out, and it also has like able to detect like the flow, how much at which rate. And so with this, I'm hoping to be able to detect, well, with lactate, kind of like my thresholds, like my aerobic threshold, anaerobic threshold, and then I'm also hoping to get from the metabolic cart, like how many like how much carbs, how much fat percentage I'm using at different intensities, and kind of equate that to grams that I'm burning per hour. Um, and then I also wore Moxies, which are muscle oxygen sensors, on my thigh. So I was like fully like a lab rat.
You should have got a
I
picture.
should have got a picture. Yeah, yeah. And like doing the test is quite uncomfortable. So for the test is because like for the Met cart you have like a tube in your mouth with a headpiece, and so there's this tube because it's like that's how it and you plug your there's a nose plug because you don't want any like you want it needs to measure all the oxygen going in and out, so it's all through your mouth. And so there's this tube goes in your mouth, it goes out the side to the cart, and you progressively like you do 4 minute stages, you get faster with each stage, and then kind of tap out like near the top. Like I like for the lactate test, I don't go. It's not like an all out VO2 max test, but like go to a pretty hard level. So I started for me it was like 450, and then I got down to 310 by the end. But like so then I'm running really fast with this tube in my mouth, and everything's shaking, and there's like saliva. It's just a scene.
You came home and you were like, you would hate it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You don't like lactate test without the piece in your mouth, so it'd be yeah,
It's like I just don't really care so much about all the numbers and
yeah,
stuff. I find that just overwhelming and too
yeah.
much. And so then to add like a horrible experience on top of that, no, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, some cool stuff comes out of it. I also did like before I did the test, I did resting metabolic rate, so how much like kind of my body would just burn at rest, and I got those results back. It's like just under 2,000 calories. Um,
So if you don't do any exercise in the day, is that
uh,
what that's saying?
that's saying like just for my body to exist.
Just for your body to exist, you have to you're burning
To that,
2,000 calories?
yeah, yeah, like literally like doing nothing. Like if I just sat in bed all day, pretty much.
Whoa,
But so like obviously you're walking around, you're burning a little bit
that's a
more.
lot.
Like, is it?
I
I mean,
think
I don't know.
so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure actually what the norm is. Like
Well, I don't know what
I
the
thought
norm is.
2000 was the norm, so I was like, okay, maybe that is like
No, I don't think that's the norm.
no, no. Okay, we'll have to look up what the norm is.
I don't know what the norm is, but I don't know. Just thinking about that, I think,
So then you think about like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? How many calories? Then like how many ever you would like walking around. Obviously, we do a bunch of exercise, so like fueling for all that. I mean, like I'm easily like 4,000 calories probably.
crazy.
Maybe more, like bigger training days, 6, 7. Like I don't know.
Well, and what I thought was especially interesting was what you shared about the carbs per hour that you're burning.
Yeah, yeah. So some really interesting numbers in terms of my oxidation rate of carbs per hour at different intensities. And so at my first stage when I did 450, the amount of carbs I was burning was 84 grams of carbs an hour, which my heart rate was I think under 120. So for me, it's like super easy, super aerobic. So like that's like at a really easy intensity, I'm still burning 84 grams of carbs an hour, which is kind of boggling to me. And then quickly it gets to say like 430, like I'm at 147, 147 grams an hour, and I'm still that my heart rate is probably just over 120 there.
So that's, I mean, what somebody might call like a zone two run for you.
Uh, yeah, maybe not even zone two, like zone between zone one and zone two
And
for
so
me.
you're over 100, 150 basically carbs an hour.
Yeah, yeah, which is pretty for
That's so much.
so I'm now yeah, so I got a bunch of answers, but now I also feel like I have a bunch of questions because I'm like these numbers are obviously very high. So I'm like now is like should I be like I feels like I should be eating
Way more.
way more than like way more grams per hour.
But we already spent so much money
And
on
that was
food.
the first thing I was like, man, this is gonna be so expensive, you know? I'm like, this is a
No.
lot of like, this is yeah, not that like I, yeah, it's just the cost of eating like high carb fueling. So, but then also there's like obviously a limitation of like how much the gut can take in and
Yes.
absorb. So like that's another, running into a barrier. And okay, so like it keeps going up. And so on my last stage at like when I was running 310 for 4 minutes, my oxidation rate was 354 grams per hour.
That's so
That's
crazy.
bonkers, hey? Like that's wild. That's so much. For the Qualicum race, I took in 140 grams an hour, and that was fine. So like, so I'm like kind of like, oh, maybe like it makes sense that I can like maybe that I burn so that I can take in so much.
Mm.
But also then it makes me think back to like Kodiak. Like I was like maybe I was just like didn't have enough carbs. Like I was like I think 90 to 100,
Mm.
but like if I'm burning 100, 150, like
But there's definitely going to be a point at which your gut says no
no, exactly. That's like I feel like that's like the limiting. That's like
factor.
exactly. It's like the gut being able to a take it in and also absorb it all.
Yeah,
So like I think that's like the kind of choke point for all this kind of thing.
that's
So
wild.
anyway, so
And
yeah,
then like after big efforts, they talk about how you're like if after you do 100K say, then
yeah,
for like I think up to like 2 days after
2 to 3 days, yeah,
you're burning essentially just as much as you were during that race or like close to, right?
totally, yeah, yeah,
So that's just so wild to think that I don't know that your body can be going through so
so
much.
many, yeah, and but so is it then? It's like is it a thing of because like I've always been fueling with a lot of carbs. So is it like my body's just very reliant on carbs?
Mm,
That's why it burns through a lot of carbs.
mm.
Like, so would there be any benefit to like uh
Adding more fat?
maybe not adding more fat, but like trying to get my body more fat adapted so then it relies less on carbs?
Well, how do you do that? By adding more fat?
Like into no, I think it's like I think it's just like lower intensity. Like I'm not exactly sure. I think it would be low. I think it would be like almost fasted training, like low carb or fasted
No,
training.
no,
I
no.
know, I know. Well, I don't know exactly. I don't think it makes sense because it's like if your body, if you can take it in, like I'm. It's not. I'm not planning on doing this, folks. But like, because my body, like, I can take it in and I can utilize the fuel. Like, it's fine. But like, I don't know if it like if there's I don't think there's performance benefit to trying to manipulate this. But anyways, the numbers are just very
Mm-hmm.
not what I was expecting at all. I
Mm-hmm.
was expecting to like it be pretty low at like my easy like between zone one, zone two, and then increase by the end. But it's like way more than I was thinking. So, I mean, now the takeaway is just like as many carbs as I can. So just more carbs. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like today for the run, I think I was like somewhere between 90 to 100, and my heart rate was like 120. So it would have been probably equate to, probably like, yeah, where I was doing like here at 440, I was 107 grams an hour. So probably not too far from that. But
Mm.
anyway, so more carbs
More
is,
carbs is always the
yeah.
answer,
Anyway, so
right?
lots of, so interesting stuff there. More stuff to kind of look at and for me to understand. There's more information than I know and like
What to
qualified
do
to
with
do
it.
with. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
I mean, I will say now I'm very curious, although I don't want to do this mask test situation on a treadmill,
yeah.
but I am curious now, especially to like compare what mine are.
What it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I don't know, kind of stresses me out too.
Yeah. Actually, and another part that was cool because we did lactate to figure out, where the thresholds and transitions are, but we also had the muscle oxygen sensors on my legs. So those will kind of detect the oxygen saturation in your legs. And then, as intensity picks up, the saturation is going to decrease because your muscles are starting to use it. And so but lactate, right, is a byproduct of glycolysis. So when you're becoming more anaerobic, so aka also using more carbs as fuel. But lactate kind of takes a little bit to lag in terms of when it starts to be produced and then it spills into the bloodstream, right? But muscle oxygenation decreases first because as soon as you need to go faster, your muscle starts asking for that oxygen. So that's actually where you can detect that change first before the lactate gets into the blood.
Okay, I am,
Did I lose you?
you lost
Okay,
me
okay,
so long ago.
okay. Anyways, it was cool to see the muscle oxygenation because it actually happens before the lactate transition happens. So they actually say that where that's happening with the muscle oxygen saturation is a better indication of your threshold than lactate.
Okay, what's the TLDR here?
TLDR, that my actual threshold was a little bit lower. Like it's like it happened before it was like my lactate spike happened.
Hmm.
So Yeah, so it's actually like, it might say it happened a stage or two before my lactate actually spiked. So if I would just kind of went off lactate, I would maybe be overshooting my threshold a little bit,
Mm.
which is interesting. So
Very
yeah, we might
interesting.
have lost a couple people there. Sorry, folks.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
moving on.
moving on from lab testing, you have a race announcement.
Yes, I finally signed up for a
It's your
race.
first one for next year.
My first one for next
Yeah.
year, and it was kind of abrupt, actually. I was literally about to walk out the door and go to the gym,
Yeah.
and then I had been sort of seeing some stuff on social media of different friends that had signed up. So I saw a few people posting about it, and then well, specifically, my friend Coral, it's going to be her first race after she has a baby. And I was like, oh, this is awesome and stoked for her. And then she was like, well, you should come. So that got me excited. And then another one of our friends, Lindsay, said that she was signing up. And so I was like, okay, this is just a bunch of pals that are going to
Yeah.
be there. So I got excited about that. The race is, I
I was
guess I
gonna say,
should
yeah, I
say.
was gonna say you're leaving people hanging
Okay,
here. Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
It's the Coaster Marathon. So this race takes place on the Sunshine Coast in Seychelles specifically because, okay, I am not super familiar with the Sunshine Coast. And I feel like people just refer to it like, oh, I'm from the Sunshine
Yeah.
Coast or I'm going to the Sunshine Coast.
I've actually never been to the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah,
Uh,
and people just
yeah,
say like it's well, I guess I have,
yeah,
but people kind of talk about it like it's one specific place, but it's a very long coastline.
yeah.
And so anyways, I've been in through Powell River, which I guess is on the Sunshine Coast. But that is actually, I realized, very not close to where this race is happening, which is in Seychelles. Anyways, this race is put on by a friend, Janelle, who her and she has a co-director as well. But she lives there and started this race, I think a couple years ago
Two or
now.
3 years ago, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I've seen it. I've seen her promoting it.
looks incredible. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
seen lots of friends that have done it. Everybody says amazing things. The community, the trails, beautiful out there. So it definitely been on my radar and something that I wanted to do. It takes place in June, and there's three distances. There's the marathon they call it, although it is a trail marathon, which is like about 42K, and then there's a half, 21K, and then there's also a shorter distance, a 10K. So kind of nice. There's like pretty accessible distances for all people. And yeah, like I said, saw some friends that were doing it and that got me stoked. And so I literally like was on my way out the door and I just briefly stopped to sign up and was like, Nico, like, what do we have going on this weekend in June? And there was nothing. So I signed up.
Sweet, exciting. Your
I'm
first
very,
race.
yeah,
Yeah,
really stoked. And since signing up, I've now heard of several other friends that
yeah.
have signed up for it. So really excited about that. And yeah, just excited to like support Janelle and that community and run in those trails
Some
because I've never done that.
new trails, new
Yeah.
place kind of thing. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then it's cool to hear, you just seem to hear like more and more people that also going to the race, which will be adds to the excitement.
A party.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So come on out to the Coaster Marathon.
yeah, I think
Or
that they are actually. I just saw that they sold out the half marathon,
okay,
which is
well,
incredible. And I think they're probably not far off selling the rest of the distances as well. So if you're interested, get on it.
okay.
Let's sell them out. Okay, let's now switch gears and yeah, for the rest of my races, still TBD. I haven't signed up for anything else. I just keep talking about the other
Yeah.
ones. Okay, we're gonna touch maybe on training. We'll call this fundamentals. We didn't really know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Sort of what we view or you
We, sure. Yeah.
view as more the fundamentals, the basics, the sort of things that everybody should be doing, and then in comparison or contrast with the more fad or kind of like
But
buzzword type
yeah,
things that are going on.
because I just feel like oftentimes things come and go kind of in sport of like different kind of fad training or like, oh, this is like the next thing you should be doing, to get your breakthrough, et cetera, et cetera. But like often anyone who jumps from the one fad thing to the next fad kind of thing, maybe is often overlooking and not doing the fundamental training things that will take you so far, like 80%, if not more of the way there. If you're doing all that stuff, you're going to get so much further than if you like, oh, just keep jumping from one thing to the next thing.
Yeah, and just as you're saying that, I was like, it's kind of similar to dieting.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like,
totally.
and
Yeah,
I don't like the term diet, but
yeah,
that's kind of the same thing with like fad diets. Like if you move away from just focusing on really simple things with food, then you try to do like keto and then this thing and like high carb, look, like all these different ways of trying to whatever, lose weight, whatever. It's like just bring it down to the basics, and that will probably be the most successful and sustainable route.
totally, totally. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, you just see people just jumping around, and then they maybe don't make progress, or yeah, keep just kind of maybe get injured, right? So
Okay, so what would you say are some of the fad things that people talk about or seem to be sort of hot right now?
yeah, okay. So super, super hot right now is like weighted hiking for ultra running. And this is kind of where this topic came to head for like the idea came for it was Jason, like you sent me a story on Instagram of Jason Coop kind of challenging the idea of muscular endurance required for ultra and trail running. For other coach of both UTMB winners, Scott Johnson, really kind of thrust muscular endurance, weighted hiking into the limelight because of the two athletes that won there, and I think one of like Jason Coop, who is a very well known trail running coach of Abby Hall and Katie Scheid, so some powerhouse females. Um, but anyways, pretty much the gist of it, what he's saying is because they were saying muscular endurance you could do in the gym, and then Jason Coop's pretty much saying no, like just keep your usual running is enough muscular endurance, that you don't need to go do muscular endurance workouts in the gyms per se, or weighted hiking is more of a just advanced maneuver where it's like, okay, you need to be nailing the fundamentals before you add this in. It's like a tool to be used and not something to be like, oh, this is going to change my kind of running or performance,
Okay.
right? So I like a lot of like some of the fad stuff is maybe very advanced stuff that you hear pros and elites doing, that if you're just starting out, you just need to nail the fundamentals, and the other stuff is probably going to maybe overdo it for you, or yeah, and yeah, it might just be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another example
yeah,
of like fad kind of, or maybe more hyped up training or something that is, yeah, maybe only helpful if you're on that high elite end of things, is double workouts. We're doing like double threshold. So like
yeah.
two workouts or two threshold workouts in one day. Yeah, probably people hear that being thrown around and think, oh, is that something that maybe I need to be implementing?
Yeah, and I think even just like doing two workouts in a week, like that is I think too much for most, like
Mm,
anyone getting into it.
like
So
speed or threshold workouts, you
exactly,
mean? Okay.
just like intensity. Yeah, so like I would say yeah, like double like thresholds or two workouts in a day is like definitely more advanced, and then also yeah, doing two workouts like in a week is also advanced. So like one of like kind of the training fundamentals is mostly easy with some intensity, and I think like that should look like just like one intensity session a week for anyone getting into running. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
And then another sort of hot topic right now and lately is this idea of heat training. And I think we've seen kind of different schools of thought from coaches and influential people in the sport, you might say. I know that David Roach got a lot of limelight and airtime talking about his heat training protocols heading into the last Western States. And then I think has since sort of said that like he himself, and he's a coach, but he was training like himself in this aspect, that he did too much heat training. So it's kind of like one of these things that like, yes, it's beneficial. Maybe there's a time and a place for it, but it can also go too far the other way.
totally. And I think it's one of those things too. It's like for just everyone looking at the demands of your race and if it's going to be in the heat or not, and kind of what your training already looks like, because adding in heat training is already just more stress, right? So if you're already very under a lot of stress from your normal training, it doesn't make sense to add in heat training, right? So it's one of those things, it's additive. And then, if you are adding into your training, you need to also just like do less training because of the added
Mm.
stress on your body, right? But yeah, so it's just like I mean, like heat training is very in vogue right now, and there is definitely performance benefits to it, but it just needs to be used. You can't just be adding it, I think, willy nilly. And there's also like, there's a different methods, passive and active. And so if you are thinking about doing it, like the passive way is just the less stressful way. The active way, I think, is just it's just a lot harder to measure in terms of like when you're wearing all that stuff, like unless you have like the core sensor to monitor your temperature, like I feel like people can just overdo it
Mm.
like way too quickly. And so it's just like
And passive would just be like sitting in a sauna after you
hot
finish your
tub.
workout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So just kind of one of those things. And what another one, speaking of like fat training is fasted training. We were just talking about,
Yeah.
but just how it's been shown in, most studies, how like it's just not beneficial. Like,
Yeah, especially
especially
for
women,
women,
especially
but
females.
definitely for men as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think for a while there, fasted training kind of got this like,
For like the fat adaptation, like, yeah.
yeah. So it was, yeah, great for fat loss. It got this sort of brand or whatever, some airtime, and it's just not the case. It's not performance enhancing.
No.
It's not advisable for anybody.
No, and like it just stresses your hormones and just stresses your body way more, especially if you're doing so much training. So it's like one of those things where I feel like that was very like, oh, you got to do some fasted training, get fat adapted,
Yep.
and now everyone's on like the high carb train,
Yes.
right? So it's kind of like
Yeah.
kind of swung the other way a little bit.
I literally remember being in university
Yeah,
and like a group of girls talking to me about fasted training and like
yeah.
that's the way to get skinny essentially.
Yeah, or there, like it's like same kind of thing we're talking about diets, like intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like similar kind of concept. But yeah, okay. Well, let's take it like tell the people what some training fundamentals are,
Okay, well
like
there's not very many of them.
because it's like basic.
It's very basic.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first one is probably just consistency. So keeping at it, whatever it is you're doing, if that's running or if you have a specific
Biking.
sport that you like to do,
Yeah,
or even if you don't and you
yeah,
kind of just do a mix of them, I think it's just staying consistent because yeah, the more you move, the better your body will become adapted to it.
yeah, yeah. And it's just having, say, I don't know, say you run 3 days a week, having those keep those days consistent each week, and it just forms a habit. And then each week you just keep doing that, and those breaks stack up over time. And that's the one thing. It's like when that consistency goes away, say because of an injury, then it's like okay, those are what really kind of prevents your progress. But like at the same time, with consistency, you also like one of the other fundamentals that we have is recovery, right? Like you need to be consistent in your training, but you also have to be consistent in your recovery.
Mm. Yeah, and with recovery, that looks like prioritizing eating enough. So we already talked
Yeah,
about don't do fasted training,
training.
but making sure you're eating enough before, during, and after
Yeah,
workouts. And
sleep.
sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, thinking about like if you have big workouts coming up,
Mm.
like eating more that day, like eating more carbs, right? Like not just looking at like, oh, what do I have going on today? Like what do I have going on in the next 2 days? And also like on like your recovery day, like just because you're not doing any exercise, you're like you were just saying, like
Yeah.
after a race you burn through so much more, like you're just because you just exercise so much more, you're still going to be burning like a lot, you're burning a lot on your recovery day, so you still have to fuel like a lot
Yes.
on those like rest days.
Yeah, I think that's another misconception
Yeah,
is that if you're doing less activity, especially if you're like a person that trains several times a week and maybe you take a recovery day or a day where you don't really do anything, that doesn't mean that you should be eating less. Like our bodies don't really work in that way, right? Like your body is preparing for tomorrow today too,
yeah,
right? So
yeah, it's catching up from yesterday, and so it's just like yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So, okay, recovery. Oh, and then sleeping enough.
Sleeping is like but eating and sleeping together are like the most bang for your buck you can
Eating
get.
while sleeping?
No, that's pretty hard to do. I don't know if I can do that, but
No.
but doing both of
Those two things.
those two things are like those are your if like you can increase your sleep and you can have a eating well clean diet, that those are that's like recovery fuel right there. Like
Mm.
instead of like obviously because then you'll see I don't know like the massage boots, the gun,
Yeah.
those are all like yes it helps with your recovery, but like getting an extra 30 minutes of sleep is going to be better
Yeah.
than doing anything else.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then I think just, yeah, where you can, I think we've talked a few times about like stress on your body. And so We always say, my friends and I too, stress is stress. So your body can't tell the difference. Well, I mean, maybe it can, but in certain ways between exercise stress and also life stress. So like they all feed into and play into each other, right? So if you have high stress going on with your family or with your work or whatever that looks like, that's going to impact your training most likely and your recovery. So I think just being mindful of those things, like if you have a lot going on, just being more gentle and kind to yourself and not forcing a workout just because it's on the plan. Like sometimes doing less will actually be more beneficial.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Then the last consist kind of fundamental that we have is like, so for this is mostly, I mean, related for strength exercise too, but like mostly for endurance exercise is like, so mostly easy, so kind of lower heart rate aerobic work, and then some intensity. So like we were saying, kind of like I'd say, especially if you're getting into this, maximum one workout a week. And then, as you progress, I would say wait a couple of years, then adding that second workout in, right? Like you want to load the body consistently over time. And the best way to do that is gradually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Keep it simple.
consistency, mostly easy with some intensity, and recovery.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking about some intensity,
Yeah.
I think last time we kind of dropped or alluded to that we might be doing or would be doing some peak endurance track nights. So this is only specific to more local people, depending on where
Yeah.
you're listening to the pod. But we did start the peak endurance track nights on Wednesday nights. So we had our first one last Wednesday.
Yeah, it was great. I wasn't sure how many people would show up. I was like, okay, whatever. It might be just you and I. And there was about 5 people out, which is amazing. So, it was the last Wednesday before daylight saving, so everyone is going to be dark after this. It was getting dark just as we started, but it was a beautiful evening. There was a nice sunset, and you guys were rolling around the track. It was a lot of fun. So we'll be back. We'll still keep it rolling. Every Wednesday at 6:15 at the Parklands track out in Sydney. So if you're on the island, come on out to track night, try it out. It's free for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I had fun. Okay, and then another thing that we wanted to touch on, speaking of sort of races, is maybe just shout out friend of the pod, friend of Peak Endurance, Clay, is been putting on a race, I guess kind of like an unsanctioned race in the past.
Yeah.
And it previously took place, again, this is for the local people on the island. It was previously taking place at Peekols. And this year, I think maybe due to some permitting issues.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
anyways, it's happening at Partridge Hill. So I think it's called the Partridge Hill or
Classic.
called the Fall Classic.
Fall Classic. Yeah.
Happening next Sunday, November 9th. I think Nico and I are both going to be volunteering at it, but we just wanted to give it a shout out. Fun little local race. I think it's 8K on the trails. He's got all these different, like, kind of segment things happening throughout it. He's got some sweet sponsors.
Some cheer stations, Whistle Boy,
Terex.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be beer garden there with NA beer.
And giving out cool prizes and stuff. So just a fun community event. If you haven't seen it, it's on Strava, on Instagram. Go check it out.
Yeah, really cool.
Okay, I think that was kind of all we wanted to touch on today. But before we drop, I did want to mention that we are starting to put the podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
So this is a new endeavor.
If you prefer to watch us talk,
Which then you'll get to see our kind of
setup
scenario.
Yeah, we're working on it. Mercedes said she had to be more presentable for this one because we'd be publishing the video, and little did I know all the other ones we've been taking video, and then you're making little reels from them, and I was like, oh, I didn't know this was going to be a reel when I was talking and just in my casual shirts, but that's okay. Now we have to dress up.
It is this people want to see the natural habitat. I
totally.
think that's just more authentic.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so if you are more of a visual person, I don't know. We heard that people like watching this stuff sometimes. So we're going to try it out. We're just going to load them up on there.
Yeah. We'll work on our background.
Yeah. And I mean, we are moving at the end of the month, so hopefully we'll have a kind of more
maybe we'll put a nice art piece in the back or something.
Maybe.
Maybe get like Mont Blanc,
Yeah.
it's a nice mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Anyway, so if you want to, we'll be on YouTube.
Yeah, check it
Uh,
out. Okay, well, that's a wrap.
yeah, if you like this, follow, share,
Like it,
subscribe if you're on YouTube.
subscribe if you're on YouTube. Oh yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Okay, ciao.